Some people have asked me to kind of cover this a little bit, so that's what we're going to do today, right? This is about the rapper Straight Drop. We're going to talk about Young Dolph. We're going to talk about how enemies and friends become enemies, and how when them people come, all that gangster shit, it goes out the window. The man who orchestrates this thing, he ends up going down there and saying, yo, look, man, I'm trying to work this thing out. I'm not trying to go to prison for the rest of my life. What can I do? And they're like, well, this is what you can do. And he starts to lay out things. His other man that's on the mission with him, he says, hey, check this out. I'm going to get up there on the stand, and I'm going to go from being a friend to being an enemy. But anyway, let's get into Straight Drop's story. Let's get into Young Dolph. Let's talk about it. Let's get to it.
And I'm going to spend all day out here to support him, play his music all day, and whoever comes up and wants to enjoy it with me can. And, you know, we're just gonna live for him today.
DeAnthony Moore brought his young son to see where it all happened. He worries about the future for Memphis's young people.
Worried about maybe moving the area we decide to live in, stuff like that. Memphis is home.
The latest example of senseless crime in Memphis has many asking, when will it stop? Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland says the city is doing all it can.
Our challenge is...
Rapper Straight Drop Justin Johnson is on trial in Tennessee for the killing of Memphis's rapper Young Dolph. Straight Drop has released several songs, but for $100 grand, he was ready to clap Young Dolph and leave everything behind. Big Juke, the older brother of rapper Yo Gotti, prosecutors say was the man behind the jukes, but he too would end up no longer being around. Young Dolph killed far too young. His career started when he released numerous mixtapes, starting with 2008's Paper Route campaign. His multiple studio albums included his 2016 debut, King of Memphis. He also collaborated on other mixtapes and albums with fellow rappers, Key Glock, Megan Thee Stallion, T.I., Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz, and others. He had 3 albums reach the top 10 on the Billboard 200, with 2020's Rich Slave peaking at number 4. But there were people in the street that wanted his career to be over with. An Instagram page for Straight Drop shows more than 60,000 followers and 11 posts, the last of which came in May 2024. His YouTube channel has 19 videos, 7 of which dropped in April 2024 while he remained in jail awaiting trial for Dolph's murder. In November 2022, Johnson had his phone, writing, and visitation privileges suspended after reportedly releasing a song on YouTube. The judge called it an inappropriate recording and wanted to silence Straight Drop. The judge ordered Johnson placed in administrative segregation, suspending all of his privileges. But prosecutor Paul Hagerman did not see it as that serious. Instead, he called it just a rap song. Will Straight Drop end up spending the rest of his life in prison for the murder of Young Dolph? If his friends have anything to say about it, he certainly will. On November 17, 2021, Young Dolph would take his last breath at Makita's homemade butter cookies on Airways Boulevard. At 36 years old, he would see the men jump out of a stolen white Mercedes-Benz car and open fire on him, all with bad intentions. 22 gunshots would scatter his body, hitting him in the head, the back, chin, neck, and arms. Why did Young Dolph have to lose his life in the community that he cares so much about? After years of investigation, witness statements, and plenty of meetings with people involved in the streets, prosecutors would paint a picture as Straight Drop's trial began. Facing first-degree murder charges, unlawfully carrying a firearm, and theft of property, Justin Johnson knows things look ugly for him. When friends become enemies, life gets real. Hernandez Govan would put the hit together, according to prosecutors. He was the mastermind of the conspiracy to end the life of Young Dolph. He would be arrested on November 10, 2022, and not long after, he decided instead of being the big homie, the leader, that he was not going down. He would work out a deal with prosecutors and tell them everything that had happened. Prosecutors would agree to his release from jail due to his declining health. Straight Drop's other man, Cornelius Smith, was arrested on December 9, 2021, in South Haven on an auto theft warrant for the stolen Mercedes seen in video footage that cops got from the shooting. Cornelius Smith, too, would decide he wanted to limit how much time he was going to end up doing for being a part of the scheme to end Young Dolph. He, too, would go from friend to foe and agree to testify against Straight Drop. Straight Drop, he just wanted to be the next big rapper, and taking out Young Dolph he thought would make him rap famous. But he never considered that when you take a life, them boys will be on you, and that they were. As the trial began, the prosecutors would tell the jury what and why. Prosecutors said Cornelius Smith Jr., also charged in the murder, would testify against Johnson. Straight Drop. The defendant said Hernandez Govan, accused of ordering the hit against Dolph, he too would testify against Straight Drop. During his opening statements, Deputy District Attorney Paul Hagerman said Dolph had been trying to make it on his own and help other artists under the label Paper Route Empire. The attorney said Dolph had rejected those at another music label, CMG, who had wanted him on their label. CMG is a collective music group, also known as Cocaine Music Group, according to Hagerman's statements. CMG is Memphis rapper Yo Gotti's label, which features other acts like Moneybagg Yo, Black Youngster, and ESTG. The prosecutor said Govan would try to identify young rappers to shop to CMG. He was trying to get money. The deputy DA claimed Johnson and Smith were not well acquainted, knowing each other only through the rap scene. During his opening, Hagerman and Dolph had diss tracks against CMG and claimed CMG made threats against Young Dolph. The prosecutor would also claim that Big Juke, Yo Gotti's brother, who was murdered in January 2024, was the person that placed a $100,000 reward for Dolph's murder, and that Johnson hoped for rap fame for carrying out the job. Straight Drop's lawyer would fire back, claiming Govan exploited Straight Drop, taking him to Atlanta to meet CMG reps, and then he would leave Johnson there when Johnson said he wouldn't go your way. His lawyer would claim Govan was nothing more than a snitch and threatened to tank Johnson, and that if he can't get a piece, no one can. A friend of Young Dolph also testified during the first day about the rivalry between CMG and PRE, saying Dolph had been shot at in Charlotte and then shot in California by people connected with CMG. But the real fireworks would come from Straight Drop's homies. They went from that street life to becoming what they always said they would not. Cornelius Smith would take the stand and swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help him God, as he placed his hand on a Bible. Straight Drop's lawyer would cross-examine Smith, trying to destroy his credibility after he put the nails in Straight Drop's coffin, no pun intended. "That's me," he would say, identifying himself as the first gunman firing at Young Dolph. Asked who the second shooter was after being shown a video, he would say Justin. "You know, we made the block and we just started shooting." Smith said he and Johnson had been looking for Young Dolph after learning there was a $100,000 hit on him. He says he knew Dolph was around because of his frequent turkey giveaways in the community. While Young Dolph was helping the kids and families, he was being plotted on, never knowing that his life was about to be taken. Smith said that after the shooting, Justin Johnson FaceTimed Big Juke and used sign language to tell him about Dolph's shooting. While describing the shooting, Smith admitted that he didn't feel any emotions. "I didn't feel nothing at the time, I ain't gonna lie. I was just trying to get some money." However, he did say he was in pain after being shot in the shoulder. After leaving the scene, he and Johnson went to an apartment complex where he'd gotten his injury looked at. Smith explained that he began to feel remorse in the aftermath of the shooting. "I didn't even know Dolph," he said. "I felt stupid. I knew I messed up." Smith said he was supposed to get 40 stacks following the death of Young Dolph, but instead, he got $500 in a letter. Some of the evidence says Big Juke paid 50 stacks to his lawyer. All that money, simply for nothing. Loss of life and shattered dreams for street kids that were living the streets and thinking nothing about consequences. He would later say that he flushed the letter down the toilet, as if it meant nothing to him. He would be shown a video as the trial began and tell the jury again, "That's me," identifying himself as the first gunman firing at Young Dolph. Asked who the second shooter was, he again would label Straight Drop. "You know what we did, we made the block when we started shooting." With this testimony, should the trial go on, or should Straight Drop be looking for a plea agreement? When the trial ends, you can be sure to know that Straight Drop and all of his friends have just decimated their lives. Their lives forever gone. Young Dolph, rest in peace. What do you think is going to happen in this case, man? The homies are up there. Dude's like, "Yo, look, man, I was there. I was involved. I did this. He did that." It's over with. No sense in going to trial. They're about to put your lights out. This kid's going to be sent to prison until the sun burns out, right? Life as he knew it, as I always say, forever gone. Give me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Hit that like button. We'll catch you tomorrow. Blood on the Razor Wire TV with respect. Until tomorrow, we're out.